So I want to talk now about evictions. We are on the precipice, folks, of an eviction nightmare. Yesterday, breaking news that this judge struck down the eviction moratorium. And it's just it's a heartbreaking moment. So this eviction moratorium, the problem with this thing, just to give you some context here, is that the eviction moratorium was basically carried out by the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control. Well, the judge basically said, well, CDC, you don't have control of this. You don't have control of this. This is not yours to do. So here's how the breaking news unfolded yesterday as this judge brought this news.
Williams is with us. So, Pete, this was a federal judge that put this down. What does this mean? Is there going to be a stay? Walk us through the order.
Sure. So remember the history here. After Congress passes the CARES Act, there is a moratorium on foreclosures that are federally supported. Then there's a second action by the CDC extending it to all rental properties. The Congress allowed that to renew. Then the Congress authority expired. And so the CDC authority that's in effect now is based solely on the CDC's own interpretation of its legal authority under public health law. And the judge said today, sorry, you don't have the authority to do this. The CDC had said this was necessary to help prevent the spread of disease, to let governors better enforce stay-at-home orders, to keep people in their homes instead of gathering with others. But the judge said today that the law does not give the CDC the authority to do this on its own. Now,
so it's not clear if this gives landlords all over the country the right to evict. We don't yet know. A group of property owners sued the Center for Disease Control, basically preventing them from evicting non-paying tenants. They argued that they could not afford to allow tenants to live rent-free for over a year now. The court decision did give them the right to evict these people, but just for now. It only applies to these plaintiffs specifically. So this is not like a widespread, hey, run for eviction court all of a sudden. But the Justice Department says it's going to appeal this ruling, and it's seeking a stay of that decision, meaning that it will ask the court not to enforce these evictions until this all shakes out. So that could prolong this. If this case does, set precedent, though, this is when it could trigger a windfall of evicted families. There are some estimates this morning that 1 in 5 renters are behind on rent right now. But landlords are still stuck with the property taxes, the insurance, the maintenance, and the mortgages on their investment properties. And state and federal aid to them has been basically nearly impossible to get access to. We know this from experience. We actually looked into it because we had a number of non-paying tenants as a result of and so we were seeing, like, how, can we apply for this? We hit an absolute brick wall, and it's supposed to be available. No luck. So, I mean, how much more, this was passed, this economic assistance for rental assistance was passed during the Trump December stimulus package, right? Where is it? Why don't people have access to it? I mean, Adam Loma says, heck, I'm able to pay rent, but I'm still having trouble finding a place to live. Other people saying, it's right now. Becky Medved says, my son was evicted last June. He's working full time now and can't get a rental because of the eviction on his credit. Economists worry that a wave of evictions could hamper all of this economic recovery that they're singing and dancing about. You see it all over the corporate media, right? They're all over this, talking about a fourth. They're all out there saying this is fantastic. We got a booming economy. Everything's great on Wall Street. All these big corporations are showing record profits, but we can't manage to keep people in their homes. There was also, of course, we had the Iowa governor striking that down as well, saying she's going to allow evictions to go forward. To which I tweeted about that, told her to go jump off a cliff. Like, during a pandemic, this is an order you're signing through executive action during a pandemic when people are going to be, where are they going to go? Where are they going to go? They can't buy because they can't find a place. Their credit's ruined. They can't rent because you're evicting them now. They're getting pushed out through no fault of their own, by the way.
And don't, that eviction goes on their record for their rental history.
Yeah. Yeah, like Becky just said in our chat, she said her son got evicted because of the pandemic. I think he lost his job, right? And now he's got an eviction on his credit. And now good luck the thing is, he's not going to be able to find another place to live unless someone gives him a lax, looks the other way and doesn't care about an eviction on his credit report. And
also they generally ask for that when you're renting a new place, for your referrals or whatever. And if anybody calls that landlord, they're going, he never paid his rent. Like for 6 months he didn't pay rent. At no fault. They don't have the context, but it doesn't matter. To them, they see him as a dirtbag. Through
no fault of his own. How are they going to work if they have no home? I mean, this is the issue. Journey sent a $5 super chat saying that I live in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. I received $10,080 in rental assistance for back rent and a 3 month future rent. This truly saved me. Yes. Real people being saved with actual money, stimulus, as a result of rental assistance. See, you're able to get it. Other people aren't, and other people don't even know how to get it. I'm curious, Journey, too, as you said, like, how did you find out about this? How did you find out about this program? How were you able to access it? Anita says, my landlord is and has seriously kind of run down apartments, raised our rent $100 plus more security deposit. That's unbelievable. During a pandemic. I mean, that's where the law, step in and say you're not able to raise rents right now during a pandemic. Like there needs to be some action at the federal level. And I guess they tried. So right now the Justice Department says it's going to push on this. We'll keep our eye on it. Mama Gamer says, I'm in the process of getting evicted. I applied for rental assistance 6 weeks ago and I'm still waiting. Yeah, that's something we should wait for, right? Let's just sit back and wait on this while everyone's, about to lose their homes. But this is a big decision. I mean, this affects those particular landlords in those that sued the CDC over this issue. But first of all, I also love the idea that you don't have money, like you can't afford, and I get it, right? You own the house. You can't afford to pay the mortgages and other things. I get that. But you can afford to hire some big shot lawyers to sue the CDC, right? Like, how expensive lawyers are. So you're going to front load all of this money to go after the government? You can afford that. But you can't afford to take care of your tenants and get through this pandemic. I get it. All right. Crystal says, I paid my rent. Still got evicted, so I can't apply for rental assistance because I paid. You paid your rent and still got evicted. How's that work? Anybody else could use rental assistance right now? Have any of you tried? Let me know in the comments. Like, have you tried to get rental assistance? What have you been told? What is your landlord saying? And are you worried about eviction? Like, are you one of those 5 people, 1 in 5, who are behind on rent?
Yeah, why don't you take that $20 billion increased military budget and pass it to rental assistance? What right. impact would that have? Rather than, making sure, and they get that quickly. When it goes to the military, they get it now. Like, it's available right away. Yet people are losing their homes and they just can't find the money somehow.
These big banks on Wall Street, that's why the Fed wants to, the Fed is able to funnel money to these big banks immediately. Oh, you need $2 billion? Got it. It'll be there this afternoon. But Kiki in our chat says, I applied for and had been approved for the emergency rental assistance back in March 22nd. Still waiting for funding. They told me to be patient. So Kiki, they told you to be patient. But when JP Morgan needs $3 billion, they'll get it there. They'll get it to them in the afternoon.
Yeah, be patient. It's summertime. If the weather's nice right now, you'll be all right living outside right now. Be patient.
Yeah, just live in a tent.
How dare you?
Kiki, how dare you ask for help? Sick. It's disgusting. Yeah, really infuriating. Really infuriating.